Welcome to the California Small Business Tax and Money Podcast. My name is Megan Robin, and I am a California tax attorney with a Master's of Laws in Taxation. I help small business owners save money on taxes and get their finances on track. Today, I want to talk about how the tax system works. This may not sound like the most exciting topic in the world, but it actually is a super important one, and there is so much misinformation that I see on social media and other places about this topic. So if you really want to save money on taxes, you need to understand this. The purpose of the tax system is to raise money for the government, which most of us all know already. And more importantly, it is designed to incentivize certain behaviors. This is the big part. Here are some examples of tax incentives. If there is an incentive around electric cars, for example, then guess what? More electric cars sell. There are incentives usually around things like real estate, starting a business, saving for retirement, and donating to charities. The government is incentivizing these behaviors because it wants you to do these things. It wants you to take care of land, develop buildings, start businesses because that's good for the economy. Donating to charities helps people in our community. If you align your finances and activities with what the tax code is incentivizing, you will pay less in taxes. I don't believe in get-rich-quick schemes or cheating the tax system. Cheating the tax system is based on a fundamental misunderstanding of how it works. You don't need to cheat or obsess over loopholes if you understand the tax code and you use it to your advantage. I was at the dentist office the other day, and I mentioned to him that I'm a tax attorney, and he said, "Oh, okay, yeah, my friend has a tax attorney, and he helped him register and buy his car in Montana so he didn't have to pay taxes. That's what you do, right?" And I looked at him and said, "Absolutely not. No, I do nothing like that. If you haven't heard about this, this is called the Montana license plate scheme. So what happens is Montana doesn't have sales tax. So people will go to Montana, buy and register their expensive car there as a way to try to avoid California sales tax and registration fees. But this is risky and short-sighted. First of all, if you live in California, you have to register your vehicle within 20 days of bringing it here. If you're using your car here, you have to pay taxes here. Second, it's so short-sighted because no one is getting rich off of silly loopholes, or this isn't even a loophole, it's just illegal. Real wealth comes from comprehensive, well-thought-out plans aligned with your goals and the tax code's incentives. The second thing that's important to know about how the tax system works is that it's not designed to be fair. Let's take two people, Stan and John. At the end of the year, both of them have $1 million in income. Stan is an employee, so all of his salary and income is W-2 earnings paid to him by his employer. He's probably going to pay almost half of his income in taxes. Then we'll take John. Let's say John has his own business. Maybe he has a few rental investment properties. He is going to pay significantly less in taxes because these are two areas that the tax system incentivizes, meaning that he gets depreciation deductions, he can deduct expenses, he can structure his retirement and health plans in a way that benefits him the most, as opposed to being subject to whatever his employer sets up for him. So at the end of the day, John is going to pay way less in taxes than Stan, even though they both had the same take-home income. Is this fair? Stan would say no, but is it legal? Absolutely. The point here is that taxpayers with similar incomes can be taxed very differently. The big takeaway here is to pay less in taxes, you need to understand what the tax code is incentivizing. You don't need to and should not be chasing illegal schemes or loopholes, and that real wealth comes from comprehensive, well-thought-out financial and tax strategy. I help my clients by reviewing their entire financial portfolio, from their small business to their cash, investments, health, retirement, and estate plans, all from a tax perspective. I make sure that it all makes sense and it's not convoluted and fragmented and that they're not losing money and leaving money on the table. Even small tax savings add up so much over time. Even a small tweak where I save someone $1,000 a year, after 10 years, that's $10,000. And most people will pay taxes every year until the day they die. You are going to live, most likely, way more than 10 years. Another thing I see is small business owners getting overwhelmed or frustrated and just saying, well, the taxes are what they are. I'll just pay it and not worry about it. But this is leaving money on the table too, because there are incentives written right into the tax code that are waiting for you to take advantage of. You don't have to just leave that money on the table. It can be back in your pocket to invest back into your business or to your other financial goals. I know that money can be so vulnerable and such an emotional topic for people, and that many people have been burned by shady advisors or bad advice. This is such a big problem that I'm going to do a future podcast on this issue to teach you how to protect yourself. As an attorney, I am held to the highest professional and ethical standards, and I am considered a fiduciary for my clients. This means that I am legally and ethically required to act in my client's best interests. There are no exceptions to this, like there are for so many other financial professionals. To schedule a consultation with me, visit meganrobin.com. Thanks for listening. This content is for informational purposes only and does not constitute legal, tax, financial, or investment advice.